Zel Boy Army, what is going on? It is your boy Zelonius, my beautiful, spicy friend, Mr. Ainsley Harriet, back with another banger for you today. An attacking custom tactic formation for you boys to use. The 3-5-2. It's a fantastic formation with lots of great attacking patterns. You want to stick around to the end of this video. I'm just going to show you the tactics, the player instructions, give you some useful tips, advice about the tactic formation, how to use it, but then also show you lots of gameplay tips so you can see how you defend with it, some of its weaknesses, some of its strengths, and how you can score goals, and why, in my opinion, it's the funnest, most attacking, best formation in the game for that. I'm not saying this is the best formation. Right now, I still think that's the 4-2-3-1, but I've been getting lots of you guys asking me to stop just showing boring custom tactics. If you want to get the best results consistently, I would still say the 4-2-3-1 is the best. However, this is still a very viable option that you could play the whole game with. I'm going to show you how to use it, why you should use it. If you want a fun attacking tactic that might make the game more enjoyable for you, this is the one. Here we go. So one thing to consider before you actually go into the game using the tactic is, do you want to start with a flat back four? Because a flat back four, generally they have a lot more easy chemistry options to use. Or do you want to start literally the 3 back and actually have 3 centre backs? For me, generally, it sounds a bit weird, but more often than not, it's easier to use the flat back 4 and just make sure one of you right back or left backs is a good going forward. So for me, Lala's pretty good. His shooting's not great, but the right mid and left mid don't shoot that often in this formation. He's quick, his passing's great, he's good enough on the ball, and I would put I'd probably put an engine on him if I was to be playing the 3-5-2 with him at right mid, make him a better dribbler, bit better at passing, but be very good on the ball. And then have your other fullback be someone who's a great defender. So Theo Hernandez would be a great outside centre back because he's very quick and strong. And then you just need attackers. You need 2 CDMs, 2 players who can play up front, cam. So you want 5-star weak foots in your cam and 2 strikers, and then a left mid who's going to be quick. The custom tactic itself, I would probably be going 4 width, because on this you need a bit more width than usual, because if you don't have enough width for this, the centre back sits so deep, you just get destroyed down the wings where you don't have enough, you don't have the full backs that you normally have in most formations. 3 depth is fine, balance so you can still press. I go 4 width on the offensive style for this, because you have so much natural width from having a left mid and a right mid that you don't want your rest of your team to go too wide, because you still want the strengths of this formation, which you'll see in the gameplay tips later, for having a cam and 2 strikers. So 4 width works because the cam and 2 strikers still sit in the middle, and then the left mid and right mid pulls their fullbacks out of position. 5 players in box works fine. This team isn't in position, it's because I've changed the team from... I'm not using 3-5-2 in this team at the moment, but I have used it for hundreds of games, and you'll see a game of me literally using it and showing you examples of it. Stay central, mixed attack, stay forward on the strikers. You want them to stay central because that's where the strength of this formation is. I put come back on defense on the cam just because the cam can track back and it helps a lot with the defending. Come back, stay wide, getting behind on the wingers. So basically, when we're defending, we want the wingers to get back and almost operate as a 5-back as full-backs. We want them to stay wide, because when they stay wide, it kind of overrides the game mechanics to make sure the full-backs track them. That gives you more space in the middle. You see that again in the gameplay. Getting behind, so they just stretch the defense. Same on both. Cut passing lanes, balanced attack cover centre with the CDMs. If you want to make this formation a bit stronger defensively, stay back on whilst attacking on the CDMs does that. However, the problem you will have with that is that what it does is it means that the attack's not quite as strong as it could have been. You could probably mess around with this, then obviously stay back whilst on the centre backs. You're going to see lots of different stuff in the gameplay tips talking about how you use this formation, examples of it, but for me it's a really fun attacking formation that'll make you enjoy the game a lot more. Okay, I'm going to show you some different clips of why the 3-5-2 stands out as a fantastic attacking formation. I will also show you some clips of how you can defend with it and how it can be quite a good defensive formation in a few ways. But the real reason this formation excels and why for me it is my favourite formations used for fun and attacking on FIFA 20. I'm going to show you some of the patterns that it can use, the space it can generate, and why it is so good in the attack. As I said before, you have to remember, I do not recommend this as the best formation on FIFA 20. For competitive and trying to get the absolute best results, I would recommend the 4-2-3-1. So remember that as you're watching this. But I still think the 3-5-2 is a fantastic formation. I've hit 30-0s with it this year. It's a brilliant attacking formation. It's a great formation if you're chasing a game to come back into it because of how good it is attacking. It covers lots of areas of the pitch. And I just find it fun. The patterns it has in it, due to the cam, 2 strikers and 2 wingers, are quite unique. And this gameplay section here showing you some tips, some patterns that I use in it, will show you why it's such a good formation. One thing to note here is if you look at the radar, you can see just the amount of space that this formation covers. It is, we've got our magic pen software appearing. It is not as bad defensively on the counter as a lot of people say. It's just if you're playing a very good opponent who's very good at soaking up pressure and attacking at pace on the wings, you can see the centre backs there. Okay, they do cover out wide, but then there is a bit of gaps here on the pitch, and very fast wingers tend to be able to burn a lot of the centre backs down the wings. But look at this, you've got one centre back here, one centre back you can't see, but there you've got 2 centre backs who you can easily turn and do a short pass to, or do a switch down there to. That's an easy option to keep the ball. One of the things I talk about a lot in attack is maintaining possession, being able to go backwards and switch the ball. The 3-5-2 is a brilliant formation for keeping possession because it just covers so much areas of the pitch. You've got 2 strikers here. They can link up to each other. They're very dangerous because if you get past the midfield and you've got 2 strikers that can do 1-2s, it's very hard to defend there. But you've got those 2 men to get forward to. You have a left mid who covers the wide area of the pitch. This right mid can do the same there. So if you switch it down there, you can then pass it down the line there very quickly, especially if people are playing narrow width. But furthermore, you've got a CDM there, a CDM over there, and a cam here. It is very hard to get the ball off a good possession player in the 3-5-2 because of how much space this formation covers. It is about as good as any formation in the game for possession. The con with it that I have to say, because I'm never going to lie to you on videos and just make things up, it's brilliant for possession, but if you lose it in possession, it's very attacking, so it's a bit easier to counter. The reason that I don't use this generally if I'm going all out to be competitive is because my possession tactic to see out a game is the 4-2-3-1-2, because if I lose the ball in that formation, then I'm still got players sat deep, 2 CDMs, 2, I have the left mid and right, but I also have 2 fullbacks covering the wings. This is better at keeping the ball, but it's just a bit more prone to counter attacks. But as you can see here, with the radar and the way the players are positioned out, it has so much space, it covers so many areas of the pitch, it's fantastic for keeping the ball, and that also allows you to have lots of great patterns in attack that you can use to break your opponent down. This here is an example of where the 3-5-2 can be a bit worse defensively. As with any tactic video formation, I'm going to show you the pros and the cons and give you some things you need to look out for. You can see here my opponent switches it, which is clever play, and then when he threw balls it here, I could have covered it a bit better manually, but this player marking this here is the right mid. If it's the right back, so the right mid starts here, if it's the right back would be here or there, and it's just easier to cover the ball down the wing. But because it's a right mid, my opponent gets down the wing a lot easier. It's not a great chance, but because of how the 3-5-2 works, he's suddenly got past my winger, and then he's against my back 3 with 1, 2, 3 options, and it becomes a lot easier to attack because he's got past my midfield very quickly with just 1 switch and then through ball down the line. Okay, you have 3 centre backs who can step in, but against the 4 attackers that most people use in the 4-2-3-1, it becomes a far better chance and puts you into a tough position defensively. I defend that well, but that's just something you have to be wary about. One of the best ways to do this is make sure your wings are on comeback on defense, and if you sense your opponent's going to play a through ball down the line, then just try switch to the winger and cover it early. My favourite ever formation that I've used on FIFA that I maybe felt at a competitive pro level, it was probably the FIFA I was best at, was on FIFA 18 using the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. I felt on that game with the cam and the two strikers was when I was at my attacking best. On the last two FIFAs, the 4-2-3-1 has been a superior formation to the narrow for a lot of different reasons. That's probably another video all in itself, but the 3-5-2 brings that triangle back of the two strikers and the cam, and I'll show you an example of it of how I use it and how it's harder to defend against. See here, we have Cristiano Ronaldo here. He draws the defender in the midfielders here, but then we still have Thierry Henry, the other striker, plus Zidane bombing forward. So we have those three central attackers that no other formation really has. The other one that has it, like we said, is the 4-1-2-1-2, but the 4-1-2-1-2 is not as good anymore because the only way to attack really in this game, you need some sort of width, and the only way to get width in that formation is to either take away from the strengths of it by making the attackers go wide, but then it's not good down the middle, or overlapping fullbacks, and then you only have two centre backs to deal with counter attacks. The 3-5-2 still has this triangle. You can see there, Zidane draws away Marcelo, so Henry can go here. We get a bit of fortune here. Like, he probably should have got the ball there, my opponent, but that run from Zidane, because we overloaded the middle with three attackers, drew the fullback out, and that attacking triangle created a goal that the 4-2-3-1 and most other formations just aren't capable of doing. This clip here, boys, is arguably the best clip of the whole video that really shows the power of the 3-5-2 and how good it can be attacking and some of the different patterns that you can get in it. If you look here, we've got the two CDMs. These CDMs hold the middle of the pitch really well, just like the 4-2-3-1 can do. So we've got this option here which really helps hold the midfield, and that can help protect against the counter as well, but it offers a good possession option. But then the pass forward, if they don't protect the middle well enough, it's free to the striker. We also have Zidane running here. He's occupied quite a few of their midfield. We've got a left mid and a right mid bombing forward, which gets the fullbacks occupied. So because Zidane's occupied their CDMs in midfield, the two strikers are isolated. You can see there, they're isolated against the centre backs, which creates an overload of attackers, which makes it very hard for our opponent to defend against. You can see here, up here, left mid there, Marco van Basten is running forward, so he draws the fullback away. Right mid's occupying the other fullback. So here, do a quick trick, and the attacking patterns here are fantastic because we've got the left mid going forward, we've got a striker there for them to deal with, our cam's running behind to draw the defenders away, and he gives Henry good space. Again here, CR7 making another run, the left mid draws the fullback still. It gives so much space here for me to left stick dribble with Zidane, and Henry makes a run forward. When he makes this run, the opponent there is in a really tough position because that centre back has been drawn away by CR7, so he's not here like he should be. The right back's not. Normally the right back would come here to deal with a Lam, but the left mid goes wider and draws the right back up there. The left back is kind of here, but it means if the left back comes over, I can always go like that and play the right mid in. Now the user, my opponent, has to use his player. Does he either mark Zidane or mark here? But if he marks here, then I can just give it to Zidane. And what this does, it probably makes my opponent panics, puts him under pressure, gives me an easy chance, and that overload of options, the different attacking patterns that the 3-5-2 has to offer, causes a goal. Because it's just so much for my opponent to think about that you just don't get in other formations. What I really like about having a left mid and a right mid is what they do different to a Lam and a Ram, and I don't know why, maybe it's just the way the game's programmed is. A left mid and a right mid seem to make a left back and a right back, which 95% of people use at 4-back formation with left back and right back. The left mid and right mid pull the left back and right back out of position, but normally The only formation really that people use that often that has a left mid and a right mid is the 4-4-2. So when they pull the left mid, the left back and the right back out of position, okay, they've got 2 strikers to deal with, but they normally still have 2 centre backs and 2 CDMs or 2 centre mids. But in the 3-5-2, you don't just have the 2 strikers to deal with that the left back and right back aren't helping with. You have 2 strikers and a cam. That extra attacker, the overload of options, the attacking patterns the 3-5-2 creates, it's so good for attacking, and many people don't know how to deal with it defensively. And it also just creates lots of chances and new ways of attacking that you don't get in other formations, that I think is fun, makes the game more enjoyable, but also means you can play a more attacking playstyle. Okay, this goal here shows another fantastic example of how great the 3-5-2 is at attacking. We've bypassed the midfield, and whereas in most formations you either have a lamb who's maybe there and a ram who's maybe there, and a striker and a cam, you have one less attacker here. I mean, not really, because the right mid there is still drawing the left back away, but we have 3 central attackers that you don't really get in other formations, which causes havoc in the middle of the pitch. And one of the things I like about the 3-5-2 is that the meta this year is using the wings to pull players out of position, but then nearly every goal comes from the central area. The danger area on FIFA 20 is this area here. Middle of the pitch, edge of the box, just inside the box. That's where nearly every goal comes from. Playing it around this area, passing it to an attacker there, taking a touch, bang. Taking a touch, bang. Most goals on this game come from patient possession, good attacking movement, taking one touch in the box and hitting it. And the 3-5-2 is fantastic for that, because what it offers is 3 central attackers, a cam and 2 strikers, who are going to make chances for that. Let's have a look here. You see here, Zidane, the cam also kind of interchanges with the strikers and swaps positions, which can be quite nice. The cam here bombs forward. Henry sits here, which kind of draws the midfielder out of position. The cam there makes a run, which means that guy has to go that way, so he can't cover here. And there, a dead stop fake, that's a really good trick to use in the box, by the way. Just creates that little bit of space. That centre back's been drawn away, which he wouldn't normally be, because Zidane's basically acting as the striker. Creates a little bit of space, gives me that chance to hit the shot into the far corner. Most other formations are not creating that same amount of space for you. These highlights here have showed you lots of ways that the 3-5-2 can be used, especially in the middle of the pitch, with different attacking patterns that you're not going to get in other formations. What I really like about this clip is it shows the space that this formation can have, how you can utilise pretty much every player on the pitch. And what a lot of people don't do on FIFA is they don't use every player on the pitch. And by this I don't mean you have to do a goal where you pass to every player. You just utilise the runs that the players make to create space for yourself. So here, I get the ball to my CDMs, and here, the right mid has drawn this player out of position, the left mid has drawn this player out of position. You can see my opponent's playing quite a narrow tactic. His back 4 are not even covering the whole length of the box, so he's playing quite narrow. But my left mid and right mid, what they do is they take some players out who would mark it more narrow and take one out, so it gives me a little bit more space to deal with in the middle, whereas normally it would be so compact I just wouldn't be able to break it down. I use the 2 CDMs to create a bit of space here. I've still got him. If my opponent pressed me and put me in a bad position, I can still turn, play it back to my centre mid or CDM, play it down there, lots of great options to keep the ball. That ball could have been intercepted, but still, it was worth the risk. The risk of making that pass was worth the reward, because if I made it, I get into a 2v3 situation here. When I get into this position, again, because I have 2 strikers and a midfielder who will bomb forward, it makes it very hard for my opponent to deal with this. Little things like fake shots, scoop turns, drag backs, ball rolls, things like that around the box are very good for disorientating your opponent, creating a bit of space. My opponent could defend this better, but the overload of options that the 3-5-2 gives, that man there, he's on the edge there, he's running through there. These players, even though I've not used the left mid and right mid directly, they've not been directly involved, they've not touched the ball in this attack, they've drawn men out of position. And even though Marcelo's come over now when he sensed danger, because when the way the defenders work on this game is, generally speaking, they're programmed that they try gravitate to where the ball is and cover the danger areas. He didn't do this till late enough because the right mid was a danger man, but it's too late by this point. I've got this man here, I've got Zidane there. He's only come over now because he was a danger man. CR7 in lots of space. It gives my opponent so much that he has to think about that it puts him in a really bad position. He panics, it allows me to turn him, and it's an easy finish in the box. One of the things I always say that you need to do to improve at attacking is give your opponent lots to think about. Whether this be that you're willing to go backwards, you change the tempo of your attacks, you can use a few skill moves, you're patient, use 1-2s to generate more runs. Giving your opponent an overload of information, more things that he has to think about, makes a huge difference on FIFA 20. More than any FIFA in recent history, I'd say. It's not easy to break people down on this game, so you have to be clever, you have to be smart about it, you have to come up with different ways of doing this. The 3-5-2, naturally, and I'll show you've seen the tactics that I use, they encourage these type of runs, movement. This formation naturally does a lot of that work for you. Like I said, defensively and being counter-attacked on, it has weaknesses, which is why I don't put it as the best formation in the game. For me, it'd probably be somewhere between the 3rd to 5th best. But out of any formation I've used a lot this FIFA, for me, it is the most fun, it's the most creative, it's the best attacking one that has the most nice attacking patterns, creative ways of playing. This, for me, if I could play any formation for the rest of FIFA just to enjoy the game, this is the one. I love this formation. You can see a lot of the goals I've scored, the attacking patterns, the space this formation has, why it's such a great formation to use. If you guys have used it, let me know what you think. If you go away and use this formation after watching this video, please let me know how you find it, if you enjoy it. I appreciate everyone who's watched this video. Thank you so much for the support always. Have a great evening and hope the rest of your weekend league goes well.